Welcome to Atlas Learn English. Have you ever wanted to learn English through a story, one that pulls you in, builds your vocabulary, and makes you forget you are even studying? This episode is for all levels, beginner to intermediate. If you are a beginner, listen to the story first without stopping. Just enjoy it. Then come back and listen again, this time more carefully. If you are intermediate, try to notice the vocabulary words as you hear them inside the story. After the episode, write down any words you did not know, and look them up. Today, we are going to do something a little different. We will hear a short, simplified version of the classic adventure story Treasure Island. Then we will go over important vocabulary from the story. And finally, we will practice shadowing, so you can hear the words, repeat them, and make them yours. You can pause, rewind, and repeat as many times as you need. That is the whole point. Let us begin. A long time ago, in a quiet village by the sea, there was a small inn. A young boy lived there, with his parents. Life at the inn was simple and peaceful. Only a few travelers stayed there, and nothing exciting ever happened. Until one day, everything changed. An old sailor came to the inn. He was tall, strong, and looked rough. He had a deep scar on his face. He did not talk much, but he always looked nervous. Every morning, he walked to the top of the hill, near the sea, with a telescope. He looked out at the water, as if he was watching for someone. He drank too much rum, and sang old pirate songs. The songs scared the other guests. The old sailor told the boy to watch for a sailor, with one leg. He gave the boy a silver coin, every month, to keep an eye out. The boy did not understand why the old sailor was so afraid. But he knew the man was hiding from someone. One day, a blind man came to the inn. He was even scarier than the old sailor. He gave the old sailor something called a black spot, a pirate sign of danger and death. The old sailor turned very pale and looked afraid. A few minutes later, he collapsed and died. His heart simply gave out. After his death, the boy and his mother opened the old sailor's small box to find the money he owed them. They found coins from many countries, but they also found something far more important: a map. It was a treasure map. It showed the place where the famous pirate Captain Flint had hidden his gold long ago. The boy brought the map to a kind and clever doctor and to a rich landowner. The three of them made a plan. They would sail across the sea and search for the treasure. And so, their great adventure began. The doctor and the landowner hired a ship. It was strong and beautiful, and ready for a long sea voyage. They also found a captain to lead the trip. He was very strict, but he was also fair and honest. The boy was allowed to join the ship's crew as a cabin boy. He was very excited. He had never been on a ship before, and he felt proud to be part of the adventure. One of the men working on the ship was a cook. He had only one leg, and he walked with a wooden crutch. But he moved quickly, and always had a smile on his face. He was smart, friendly, and full of funny sea stories. He also had a green parrot on his shoulder that kept saying, "Pieces of 8, pieces of 8." At first, everyone liked the cook. He told jokes and helped everyone. But soon, the boy discovered a terrible secret. One day, the boy was hiding inside a barrel on the ship. While he was hiding, he heard the cook talking to some of the other men. The boy found out that the cook and many of the crew were actually pirates. They had a plan. They would wait until the treasure was found. Then they would take over the ship and keep the treasure for themselves. The boy felt very scared, but he stayed quiet and listened to everything. Later, he told the captain and the other honest men. Now they knew the truth. Many of the crew were dangerous. They had to be very careful and get ready to defend themselves. After many days, sailing on the sea, the ship finally arrived at Treasure Island. The island was green, wild, and very quiet. There were trees, hills, rocks, and secret caves. It looked calm, but the boy and his friends knew there could be danger. Some of the crew went to the island right away. The boy went with them, but soon he walked off alone into the forest. While he was walking, he met a strange man. This man had been a pirate before, but his pirate friends had left him alone on the island. He had lived there for 3 years, eating berries and goats. He was a bit strange, but also kind and friendly. He told the boy a big secret. He had already found the buried treasure and had hidden it in a safe place. He said he would help, but only if they promised to take him home after the adventure. While this was happening, things got worse on the island. The pirate crew took control of the ship. They also asked for the treasure map. But the captain, the doctor, the landowner, and the other loyal men moved into an old wooden house on the island to stay safe and fight back. Soon the fight between the two groups began. The pirates attacked with guns and swords. They tried to steal the map. But the loyal men were strong, smart, and brave. They defended the house and did not give up. Then the boy did something truly brave. He found a small round boat. He used it to quietly return to the ship. There, he fought a dangerous pirate, and he won. He took control of the ship and moved it to a safe place. Later, he returned to the wooden house and told his friends what he had done. Silver tried to act friendly again. He changed sides and wanted to stay safe. But the boy and the others did not trust him anymore. At last, the pirates used the map and went to the place where they thought the treasure was. They dug and dug, but they found nothing. The treasure was gone. They had been tricked. They did not know that the man who had lived alone on the island had already found the treasure and hidden it in a cave. Some pirates gave up. Some ran into the forest and were never seen again. Others were too weak to keep fighting. In the end, the good men had won. They were tired, but they were safe. And now they finally knew where the real treasure was. They found gold, silver, jewels, and coins from many different parts of the world. There was more treasure than they had ever imagined. It was so much that they had to carry it in many trips to the ship. The cook, the one who had planned the betrayal, disappeared one night while everyone was sleeping. He took one small bag of treasure with him and was never seen again. The ship sailed back home. The boy and his friends were safe. And now they were rich. But the boy felt different. He had gone on a great adventure. He had seen danger, greed, and death. He had learned about bravery, friendship, and trust. He was no longer just a young boy. He had grown up. Now let us go over some of the best vocabulary from today's story. These words will help you understand stories better and sound more natural when you speak English. For each word, you will hear the word, a simple explanation, and an example sentence. Then it is your turn to repeat. This is called shadowing, and it is one of the most powerful ways to train your English. Ready? Let us go. The first phrase is by the sea. This means near the ocean or next to the coast. For example, they built a small cottage by the sea. Now you repeat, they lived by the sea. The inn was by the sea. The next word is inn. An inn is a small hotel, often quiet, old, and cozy. For example, we stayed at a little inn during our road trip. Now repeat, let us rest at an inn. Next we have rough. When someone looks rough, it means they look tough or wild, not neat or clean. For example, the sailor looked rough with messy hair and old clothes. Now repeat, he looked rough and scary. That man has a rough voice. The next word is scar. A scar is a mark on the skin after a cut or injury has healed. For example, she has a small scar on her knee from when she fell. Now repeat, he has a scar on his face. Next is nervous. Nervous means you feel worried or afraid that something bad might happen. For example, I feel nervous before speaking in public. Now repeat, he looked nervous. She felt nervous before the test. The next phrase is watching for someone. This means waiting and looking to see if someone is coming. For example, he stood at the window watching for his friends. Now repeat, He was watching for danger. Next we have, keep an eye out. This means to watch carefully, to stay alert. For example, keep an eye out for your phone. Now repeat, keep an eye out for trouble. The next word is pale. If someone is pale, their skin looks very white, often from fear or sickness. For example, she went pale when she heard the bad news. Now repeat, he looked pale. Next is collapse. To collapse means to fall down suddenly, from fear, pain, or exhaustion. For example, he was so frightened he collapsed. Now repeat, he collapsed on the floor. The next phrase is, his heart simply gave out. This means his heart stopped, often because of shock or fear. Now repeat, he was so scared, his heart simply gave out. The next word is adventure. An adventure is a fun and exciting journey, sometimes dangerous. For example, climbing the mountain was a big adventure. Now repeat, that was a great adventure. The next word is voyage. A voyage is a long trip, by ship. For example, the voyage took many weeks. Now repeat, we went on a long voyage. Next is strict. Strict means someone who follows rules exactly, and expects others to do the same. For example, the captain was very strict but fair. Now repeat, she is strict but kind. The next phrase is take over. To take over something means to take control of it, often by force. For example, the pirates tried to take over the ship. Now repeat, they wanted to take over. Next is right away. Right away means immediately, without waiting. For example, come here right away. Now repeat, they left right away. And the final phrase is walked off. To walk off means to leave a place, often quietly, or without saying anything. For example, he did not answer. He just walked off. Now repeat, the boy walked off into the forest. And there you have it. Your vocabulary for today is complete. Now here is your task for after this episode. Find a quiet place and record yourself for 1 minute. Tell the story of Treasure Island in your own words, using as many of today's vocabulary words as you can. Do not worry about being perfect. Just speak. Listen back to your recording and notice what felt easy and what felt difficult. That is where your next step begins. This is Atlas Learn English. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself. Goodbye for now.